Look, you don't need me to tell you how important Travis Kelce is to this team. The only other wide receiver or tight end currently on the Chiefs roster with 100 career receptions is Marquez Valdes-Scantling. Kelce has 814 catches in his career. The next 6 Chiefs receivers have a total of 448 between them. And I listened carefully to the words that Brother Jason was saying there. Chance to go tomorrow night. What are we hearing as far as the possibilities that we see Travis Kelce tomorrow night in the NFL's kickoff?
Greeny, it's still up in the air. Even if he has a chance to play, which they're hoping for, you know Travis Kelce, he's going to want to play. It is week 1. Is it worth him playing? Because you're going to have a compromised Travis Kelce either way.
There's no video of the actual injury itself. We do have video from yesterday's practice. We don't see him. But, Mike, you were telling us, by definition, this would have to have been a non-contact injury because no one's hitting each other.
Yeah, Green, that's what makes it even that much more sickening is it's probably a glorified walkthrough. They're in basically Friday's practice yesterday, all the haze in the barn. So this is so unfortunate on so many levels, but I'm sure there was no contact whatsoever. And I understand what Kmart was saying. I see it differently from this standpoint. If I'm Kansas City, look, I want to win tomorrow night. It's opening day. We're the defending champs. But we're going to go into a mini bye week after this week. And this is a non-conference game. You don't want to lose any game. But if you're going to lose a game, you'd rather have it outside the conference. And you have this Chris Jones situation. So maybe you say to yourself, hey, we could get Chris Jones and Travis Kelce back after this mini bye. Hopefully Patrick Mahomes can work his magic. I would be a little bit more cautious because we're sitting here in September, not later in the season.
Is there air on the side of not playing Kelce? Lewis, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I could definitely see Andy Reid opting for that course of action in terms of saying, hey, look, we're going to get a couple extra days here in between week 1 and week 2. It's the first week of the season. We know that Travis, you saw the disparity in terms of production between him and Marquez Valdes-Scantling. And then when you take it and you look at it in the league overall, now over the past 3 years, Travis is 6th in receptions amongst all pass catchers, including running backs, tight ends, and wide receivers. And he's 4th in first down. So you know that you need him for the long stretch. You have 16 more cracks at it that you're going to need him for. And so, look, if he's not 100%, or even if he's, I don't know, 50, 60, 70%, I don't know if it's worth the risk. I just know this. Coming out of the gates fast is something that means something to every team in the NFL. You do only have 17 cracks at it. It's not like you're playing, 80, 90 games here and you can afford to lose any. But if you're going to sit this guy down, it's time to sit him down now on week 1 because, as you see, without his production, they're going nowhere. And if they don't get Chris Jones in there, they're not going anywhere either. And I don't mean to say that flippantly because, I'm as big a supporter of Kansas City as anyone, and I'm still picking them to go to the Super Bowl this year. But they need those 2 guys, and they need them for the long haul. So Andy will make the smart choice. Rick Burkholder, the head of training down there, is one of the very best in the NFL. He'll make the right call.
I've got a couple of thoughts on this, just as far as what you should know. One, he has not missed, he being Travis Kelce, has not missed a game due to injury since 2014. So this is an extremely unusual circumstance. 2, if you think about Andy Reid's history, there is no coach that we have seen err on the side of caution more frequently. He never plays guys in that last weekend of the season when they've got things wrapped up, all those tough decisions coaches have to make. So my gut feeling tells me that when he is sort of making a jump ball decision like that, he errs on the side of avoiding injury. So that brings us to the next question. And Lewis, I'll start it with you. If Travis Kelce and Chris Jones do not play tomorrow night, can they beat the Lions?
Can they? Yeah. Would I pick the upset? Yes, I would, because I'm a believer in Detroit. And I think Detroit is going to show you some things, especially from an offensive standpoint, that are going to make you truly believe, if you're not already a believer, in what this football team can do here in 2023. But no, I mean, they'll be severely compromised. Because, again, on the defensive side for Kansas City, let's just start there right now. Look, they not only don't have Chris Jones, they don't have their prize free agent signing Charles Omenihu, who's going to be out for 6 games. Those 2, Charles and Chris, were supposed to form a dynamic duo that was supposed to terrorize quarterbacks because of their versatility, their inside-outside pass rush versatility. And they're going to need it against a team like Detroit starting tomorrow night because Detroit is for real, man. Detroit has got weapons galore, and they are going to show you that this football team is not one that you can just take out star players and expect to beat them anymore. Detroit's on the come, and if they don't have those 2 players, I would pick Detroit to win that football game.
Okay, so that's where it begins. And I asked everyone at this table to put someone on upset alert for week 1. And before we even knew the details here, Kmart, I start with you. You already like the Lions to win this game tomorrow night.
I did, because think about it. This is a different Lions team, as Lewis pointed out. And I think even we've seen the Chiefs start off slow before. They figure it out as the season goes on. But I think the Lions right now, they finished the season strong. They have high expectations. They have a much better roster. And without Chris Jones, I expect Gibbs to have a big game.
And that's the first-round pick that they took there out of Alabama. What do you think, Mike T?
I agree, and it's interesting. I never thought I'd say this, but will Andy Reid maybe try to take the air out of the ball tomorrow night and say, hey, they're going to score. We don't have Chris Jones, as Lewis alluded to. They won't have Charles Omenihu either. And now all of a sudden, without Travis Kelce, do we have to be a little bit more ball control, which you would never think with Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes. But it'll be interesting to see Andy Reid, the strategist, attack this game.
Well, fascinating. If Patrick Mahomes is trying to keep the other quarterback off the field as much as he possibly
He's trying to keep
can,
Jared Goff off the field.
then we are seeing something. Go ahead, Lewis.
No, look, I'll tell you what, Mike, I respect your opinion, but they ain't taking the air out of no footballs. All right, they're not taking that ball out of Patrick Mahomes' hand. Are you kidding me? He could be throwing to me. He could be throwing to you. He could be
Did you
throwing
see
to
me as a
Greeny.
punt returner?
He's
I don't
going to be
think
throwing
so.
that football. He's going to be throwing that football. I'm just telling you. They're going to be like, hey, Patrick, do your thing, bro. Do your thing.
All right, so a lot of people liking the Lions, who remain an underdog in that game despite everybody that Kansas City is missing. More upset alert. Lewis, give me another underdog you like this weekend.
Yeah, it's definitely the Steelers at home, man, against San Francisco. Look, and I don't, quite honestly, I mean, I'm not one of those people who sets lines, obviously, but I think this football team is being severely underrated, that being the Pittsburgh Steelers. Kenny Pickett was voted captain in his second year, something that Ben Roethlisberger didn't achieve in his second year in Pittsburgh. Him and George Pickens are about to go off. Okay, folks? They're about to go off. George Pickens is about to vie for all-pro consideration at wide receiver, and Kenny Pickett is going to vie for postseason consideration for a Pro Bowl berth, too. I'm just putting it out there. The guy is ready to explode.
If they give up, God help us, if they gave up 33 points to Buffalo on Monday night, on Tuesday, people are going to be saying, what happened to the 85 Bears?
But I think here's what DJ Reed misses, is the fact that he doesn't have any historical ties to this franchise, and understanding that when you are the Jets, Rex Ryan, like those days of saying bombastic things, like people will be looking like, okay, you said that, now we're going to really nail you. You know what I mean?
Yes,
and I think
that's my point. You can say things in Buffalo. Micah Hyde said it.
And no one cared about it then.
That's right.
But it doesn't matter. These are not the same old Jets, and that's what I push back on.
I agree they're not the same old Jets. We don't need to be talking about the 85 Bears before the season begins. All right, Mike T and I talked about this yesterday.
Yes.
Kmart has given her view. I am clearing the stage. Louis Riddick, the floor is yours.
Greeny, don't get scared now. Don't get cold feet now. All off season. All off season, man.
Jersey
you have
on the
been
wall.
nothing but hyped. Okay, look, you had me, for goodness sake, in there in your studio talking to a framed picture of a jersey.
Yes.
All right, I was actually talking to the jersey like it was a human being. Do you remember that? I remember that.
Of course.
I remember. So don't get scared now. Look, if these guys want to talk this talk, hey, we all know they're going to have to walk the walk. You know what's funny is, it's funny listening to modern day players talk about and reference, some of the greats of the past as if they really understand just how dominant and just how good some of these teams were. The 85 Bears, yeah, they're historic, all right. They're historic. You had some bad dudes on that defense, okay? And they went that, look, for an entire year, they beat people down. Except one time, they went down to Miami. I believe it was on a Monday night, and Dan Marino got with them. He got with them that night in a game that was epic, and I remember it like it was yesterday. But these were some bad dudes. So, look, for the Jets, look, internally, it's great. I mean, look, I understand why defensively they have the kind of swagger that they do right now, especially considering the playmakers that they have at every level of their defense. They have got absolute game records, the kind of guys that can literally put fear in offenses because they know they can stop the run, rush the passer, run with your running backs out of the backfield, and they have a shutdown corner in the back end that can take away your number one. That's pretty much as good as it gets when you're talking about modern day or 85 Bear era type of defense. That's as good as it gets. But now you're going to have to walk it. And you're going to have to walk it against a team in Buffalo that has a quarterback that is pretty darn good and an offensive system that's pretty good. We'll see.
Weren't they going to have, they were going to have to walk the walk anyway in week 1. Like, I don't think everybody in the AFC understands when they're playing the Jets, they're going to be a little bit more amped than they have in years past. Bills-Jets has never been as interesting as it is now since, like, the Rex was fired and then went to Buffalo. So they were going to have to walk it anyway.
I think the context, though, there's a time and a place. It goes back to that old Coach Parcells expression, which is in New York football, there's 2 emotions, euphoria and disaster. And all you're doing now is just you're putting a bullseye on you unnecessarily. And if I'm Sean McDermott, I'm walking into my front 7 say, hey, who has the better defense, guys? And Aaron Rodgers is the guy that could potentially pay for this on Monday.
Fair, but my pushback to that would be if Sean McDermott, who is actually taking over the play calling duties on defense, needs DJ Reed, his comments as bulletin board material, then the Bills have already lost this game.
Louis, I got 20 seconds left. They're yours. Go.
Hey, look, the Jets have a better defense than Buffalo, okay? That's a fact. The Jets have a better defense than a lot of offenses in the NFL, period. They're going to give a lot of people hell all year long. I don't have any problem with DJ Reed saying it. I'm just saying this, though. Look, you can talk all you want. There were plenty of players in the NFL who talked, but you got to back it up. It's as simple as that. I expect them to. I'm going to pick them to win the game.
Woo!
So, look,
That's going to make my day. Frame that. I'll put that on the wall. Thank you for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.